What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Showtime is Blazer King with King's Critiques, and we're back on the upload schedule. Well, not upload schedule, but uploading in general, recording, all that good stuff. I got one thing done yesterday, and now I'm gonna knock something else out with The Monster Wants to Eat Me. I don't know exactly how far out the Yuri Mondays are going to expand. I might need to do 2 uploads a day on Monday. We shall see. But for now, as I always do with the intro bits, don't forget to let things run through the limit of the watch time, because regardless of how long it is, because of my new upload way here, it is always helpful to the algorithm and all that stuff, as well as hitting the like button, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Remember, if you want the full version, it's available over at the Orange channel eventually. I say eventually because I don't even know if I can upload stuff come December 1st, because I'm recording this a couple days beforehand and I'm not getting verification on if the thing needed to happen has happened yet. Anyway, all that being said, let's get into the thing and see what's been going on with the show, because I've seen clips on Facebook and stuff, but obviously I have not watched a bit since the last time I recorded this. I mean, okay, the intro is kind of a banger though, so like, if y'all haven't heard that before, and this one I will stick into the red side just because, you should definitely watch the show because the show's already really good 2 episodes in. And that intro is a banger. Okay, to answer that question specifically, because, like she said, depressed meat doesn't taste nearly as good. That's why animals that live a long, happy life usually taste better, as she explained in the previous episode. So, like, what's the fun in just eating you now? Let you enjoy things instead of in the rut you're in. Which is at least good to why I'd never be attacked by cannibals, because my level of depression is very high, so I don't think that'd taste very good. But in her case, at least she might be able to, like, do that thing where the person that wants to eat her, slash, off her, instead, like, does everything but. Specifically to the point, by the way. She bought candy apple and boba tea. Okay, I will say though, like, specifically when it comes to, your Yuri couples, this is probably one of my favorite kind of coupling. You're probably, because it's kind of the thing I wouldn't mind having myself with a girlfriend. You're depressed introvert who really just would rather not be around in general, and regardless of external intentions, you're extrovert who is willing to do whatever to make that person happy. And I think the way I phrase that might be a little off, but like pushy and self-centered, and it's like a split case. In this case, it has very good intentions. Like, yeah, she's pushy, self-centered, but it's all to like try to help our main character here, feel better, even if it's for those other reasons. And in a lot of cases, pushy and self-centered is a very bad thing. We know this, like, clearly. I mean, look at the type of person I am. Like, that's kind of like the widely, stereotypical thing about people like me. But not always the case. Case in point. Yeah, like that kind of thing. Pushy and self-centered is okay when it's for good reasons. Terrifyingly kind? Let me actually preface that. Unless, like, in a case where someone tells you not to do something because their anxiety is terrible, then that might be pushing it a little bit. But if they don't, have that kind of thing about them, they might, like, have a heart attack or something if something happens just at random for a good thing. Yeah. And, like, I'm mostly saying that because allegedly that has actually happened before and somebody got in very big legal trouble for that reason. So her trauma because she lost her parents is really going to make her, be upset about it feeling similar for that reason. Like, yeah, it did seem kind of like she was playing more of a maternal role than a, friend or more role. But you can't really use that against her, can you? Nope. Off she goes. Yeah, you have fireworks going off, which people say is a beautiful sight. Meanwhile, she looks like she wants to just scream in panic. It's that terrifying to her right now. Not for, like, the reason of the fireworks themselves, but apparently she can't get over the past and what she'll never experience again with her family, which is understandable to a point, but, like, I don't know. I feel like I get the reasons for her trauma. Like, it's hard to go over without having experienced it myself, I'll be honest. I can't give actual opinions towards it. It's just, like, it's terrible for her. It is to, like, feel that way about every little thing that could, like, I understand the general depression because life sucks and not finding things, like, fun or exciting, but to actually, like, deal with the PTSD in situations like this, not for anything traumatic actually happening during it, but for what I said of not being able to, like, experience it with the same people again. Which actually, I guess technically I can live in my own right. Not because people died, that I know of, but because, like, they are just gone from my life and I'll never experience that again. I do experience PTSD in that way of things, you know, seeing certain things or listening to certain things. So I guess in a way I do get it for that reason, but yeah, not in the case of knowing and having seen their actual demise. Oh yeah, and the fireworks probably don't help her forget about the ship explosion too. That that is a completely relatable statement, honestly. Like, maybe there's a small chance of that, you know, figuring stuff out to just, like, give a shit less, but the point of being able to up the mood so the meat is more tender, yeah, I feel Hinako on that one. And what if she doesn't? What if she actually breaks through your, you know, all of what's going on, which, while understandable, when you can move on, when someone is helping you move on, would be good. Because, you know, people, even at their most depressive state, whether understandable or being in their head, really just need a proper hand. She's getting that proper hand, but she's pushing it away. But why? Like, she has a really good friend who's been trying to help. That's one hand. She has Shiori, who's another hand, as grotesque as that hand can be. So, like, because I don't know all forms of, you know, depression. I can't really field it all. But I know from the position of somebody who's lost a lot of what means everything to them, you know, from a certain standpoint, maybe not the familial yet, but like I've imagined a few times of what it would feel like, and I understand, you know, her point of view. Especially I've imagined of how it would have happened when you were a teenager. But again, she's being offered hands, and while she can never forget about her family, at least she can, you know, be given reasons to continue onward with people who actually care. Uh, um. Oh. Okay. See, now that's not exactly how I thought that scene was going. Like, she extended her claws, so I thought she was gonna, like, take just a swipe at Hinako, you know, just in a threatening manner. Or, you know, when I saw the blood splatter but it didn't come from her, thought maybe she, like, impaled herself to prove something to her. But no, she was defending her from some other creature. Okay, but, like, why is her talking about that actually more sensual than it should be? Well, I guess mermaids are one of those types of species. No, but, like, the way she's just laying into her now, complaining about her running away, is great. Like, this and this, again, I understand Hinako's point of view, but the way she's laying into her is honestly great. The way the murderous monster just makes her feel bad is insane. Honestly, that's probably the funniest part about both things. Is like depressed, you know, acidal, introvert, not wanting to deal with any of this bullshit, and excited, murderous, extrovert, ready to help her feel better so she can. That's kind of what I'm asking, but you know what? Whatever. This is why it's cute. For some people, that's actually a very good question. Might take me like an hour or more to go over all the reasons that I can come up with in my own head for that, but hers, I understand the point of wanting to like rejoin her family in the afterlife, and that's the whole thing. But like I said earlier, you're being extended hands by your friend, who I kind of think is more than meets the eye, and Shiori, who granted her main intention is to go numb, but still. So her meat is definitely the most delicious in the world to a lot of things. Kind of like the kid's blood from Call of the Night, which I also should finish at some point. Maybe over the next few days, I'll just like rummage through my shirt drawer and watch whatever's pertaining to that when I have the time. But yeah, it's kind of like that, to where she's the most delicious. But I guess in this case, because Shiori can like sense her feelings and emotions and whatnot, weirdly, it just isn't appetizing. Meanwhile, she takes offense to it, which, in a way, I kind of understand, but also, she was just saying your internals smell like that, which isn't really much better, but wow, okay, I must smell like the worst kind of rotting wow. Yeah, she just really hasn't cared. Like, she did almost die the other day before you saved her, and you threatening her, she's just like, well, whether I'm being eaten or eaten, worked for me. Also, I don't want to be that guy. As much as I do love, the shipping and Shiori and her attitude and all that, why do I feel like this could be one of those things where Shiori or somebody that, she has some connection to in the monster realm had something to do with her parents' death? Like, if she had, like, take for instance, she had smelled, delicious ever since she was even, like, little to those monsters. Because, the monster is always the one that kind of have that thought anyway. So, maybe they did that on purpose trying to get to her and just didn't get the chance, so they took what they could. Okay, well, it's not. Actually, maybe. Because, like, maybe she managed to swim her way to shore or something, so she ain't, like, drop into the ocean. Actually, how did a 6-year-old get all the way to land from that deep into the water? Or did she, like, fly out while the car was flying into the water? Because at least that cuts out part of what I said. But maybe it doesn't change the fact that maybe when this happened, somebody caught a whiff of her. Because it was a legitimate car accident. It wasn't like they went off the road and then the car literally got dragged into the water. Like, I had to, assume that kind of shit. Because, yes, we have seen this flashback before. But it also has been a little while since I, saw the last couple episodes, like I said. And also, by the last flashback a few minutes ago, it seemed like it was still, like, on the shore, and that could have implied just got dragged in further. That answers that question. Okay, you heard what say that, though. This actually does rotate back to the theory about what I said of Shiori or somebody that is within that realm of monsters. Again, her entire line of thought has been relatable, though. Like, as much as as much as I want to die, it's a thing I'll admit, unlike her. But in some realm I don't, because, like, if success happens in life, then why would I want to? But success doesn't. But also I have to live on for my family, and in my case I do have some family left. And my pets that I care more about. And now to argue that point I literally just made, shut up, you were fed this morning. They get one can of food every other day because they don't eat enough. And she's meowing at me. What the fuck? Really, though, I do love them, though. I saw another time on Facebook she had said this, and it wasn't in such a happy tone, so that might be a spoiler for another episode, but at least right now she's taking it in a lighthearted fashion because she does want to die, right? But I suppose that's also part of the reason, by the way, why I'm always like, you know, would a real-life Yandere girlfriend really be that bad? Because my position currently in life is like, hey, if someone's going to love and care for me, if they end up literally stabbing me in the back one day, well, at least I got to experience something for the first time in forever for a little bit of time. Pause. Phrasing. Because, like, we know what she actually means, but phrasing. Also, why do I feel like this could be one of those things that weirdly could, like, actually help my mental state just a little bit here and there? Maybe not the whole show, because there's definitely going to be a depressive dip at some point, probably pertaining to what I said earlier. But, because, like, there can be all the, like, positive messages in the world, but speaking to a character that, like, I relate to as directly as I do Hinako, minus the, like, family thing, but more as, you know, I did lose people I loved for no reason. So, like, I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the show goes. Yeah, that's kind of like the most ironic statement, though. Though, like, technically, isn't that how life works? You work harder to survive just to be able to die. Is she gonna propose a hypothetical that if somebody who's willing to just kill her outright regardless shows up who's as human as she is, how will she feel? Not even asking the opinion. Then what, Shiori's just gonna go, like I said earlier, Yandere mode, where she just goes up close, like, if you let that happen, I'm going to fuck you up in the afterlife. And the way she just literally is like, nah, I'd win. Let's go see if there's any food at the stalls. But we're covered in blood. We'll make some excuse. And in China, we're not covered in blood. It's actually probably harder to explain being covered in what we are covered in China, but you worry about it then. Oh. W. And it'll eventually disperse so she didn't even have to shower. Bigger W. And her friend showing up and seeing her there with somebody else. Jealousy. Again, I'm just saying, the right hand being reached out can change everything. Again, granted, it's for her own devious purposes to end up dead instead of actually being happy. But hey, again, the right person. Even if that person is planning to gobble. Gobble on what? Gobble D's. Ask her if something good happened, and she just says, I don't know. It's like, see, that leaves to question a lot. That expression. We all know that expression from Katakawa. And what it could lead to. Oh, yes, she did. However, I raise a two-half question. One, is she jealous because of that? Or is she angry because maybe she's the one who sent that other yokai at you? Oh no, she totally did, but she's bullshitting you just to see if you're gonna lie. Though technically she did have a panic attack and run away after the fireworks began. So even if she was seen there, she didn't see all of the fireworks. So technically she's not lying. Oh no. Is she also gonna have photo evidence and she's just gonna be like, oh, you weren't there, huh? Yeah, well, Hinako kind of already lied to her, so little late, and you gotta, commit to the lie until she calls you out on it. Because there's a lie, and then there'd be an omission if you hadn't said specifically you were in the bath. Like if you said you didn't see them from your house, that would have been true. It would have been omission, but it would be true. To say you were in the bath during them, that's mostly a lie. That is also true, though. Though, from the little flashback we just got, I do kind of understand from her point of view with the family loss of also why it was bad, because when you live in a small area and everyone knows each other, it is kind of shittier. Because it's like, on one end, people try to avoid talking, around or to you about your family. And then there's just some people that won't talk to you at all. And then later on in life, for some reason, kids will be bullies about the situation. Because kid bully mindset is like, well, to put it simply, Toys R Us. And not to, I'm going to add to make that sound less weird. I was trying to say the thing without saying a thing, and it made that sound worse. This is why we can't censor words, people, because it makes things sound worse when people try to get around them. Turd, but instead of an A, or instead of a U, it's... Yeah! Might want to ease into that a little bit, but... Sure, that's how it works. Sometimes. Also, putting the title above it like that really just kind of pushes more towards the obvious direction of Yuri. I'm just saying. Another yokai just attacked at random while they were doing stuff? Right. And another one. Also, though, it's all the little yokai constantly attacking her specifically. Why I'm kind of like on a half thought that her friend is more than meets the eye and might have something to do with that. But maybe it's too early to assume that. Maybe it's just coincidence. Though, it's a very big coincidence. Does she see something? Of course, that's where it cuts off. Well, like in the beginning, I'm gonna listen to the outro because I haven't in a while, so on the orange side, y'all can skip over. I've said before, I'll say, I love Yuri. And honestly, the fact that this show has the main character be, like, extremely similar how she feels emotionally to how I do is crazy. Her reasoning might not be the same, but the similarities and how it's felt is kind of wild. And, like, listen, again, even if they had bad intentions for me long term, if I had a Shiori in my life, I feel like things would be better. Just saying. But, as far as, like, the whole of the show, what do you think that the friend saw at the end there? Do you think she's able to see the yokai for just, random reason? Kind of like how, Mirko's friend and Mirko-chan could sense spirits. She couldn't see them like Mirko could, but she could sense them. That kind of thing. Or do you think she is behind it, whether being a yokai herself or, some kind of like Inuyasha logic or something, she can control the yokai, just as a human. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. And, as I always say, hit the like button, subscribe to the gaming channel in the description, ring both bells like Facebook, follow Twitter, and Blue Sky, keep updated with things, TikTok, Patreon, get the full unedited visual and audio stuff I upload here in full eventually. And go follow on Twitch, subscribe for benefits, get into a Twitch Prime for free. I have a green account that I'll try to use someday. But for now, always good to help with the numbers for when I do start. Smile. Till next time, been the Blaze King with King's Critiques, and ta-ta for now. Peace.